Welcome to Spiedel's California Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane. This week we're covering when a tax professional may be classified as an employee versus an independent contractor, and exemptions from the application of the ABC test to tax professionals. We cover this in greater detail in the June 2024 issue of Spiedel's California Tax Letter, and you can find details on this monthly subscription at caltax.com under Publications. In a recent message board post, the issue arose of classifying a tax professional as an employee versus an independent contractor when doing work for another tax professional, specifically reviewing returns that another CPA firm had prepared. Under California law, most workers are presumed to be an employee for income tax purposes as well as labor laws unless a hiring entity satisfies the three-factor ABC test. Under the ABC test, all three of these conditions have to be met in order to treat the worker as an independent contractor. The worker is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for the performance of the work and in fact. The worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. And the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as the work performed. However, there are specific exemptions from the ABC test that may apply to tax professionals. Being exempt doesn't mean that the worker would automatically be treated as an independent contractor. It means that the Borrello right to control test, which is less restrictive than the ABC test, would apply for purposes of determining whether the worker is an independent contractor or employee. For workers involved in the tax profession, the type of license they hold will determine whether the worker qualifies for an ABC test exemption. Regarding the application of the ABC test to tax professionals, CPAs and attorneys fall under the specific occupations exemption, under which workers engaged in certain occupations are exempt from the ABC test. This means the Borrello test would apply to determine whether a CPA or attorney is treated as an employee or independent contractor. For detailed information on which factors determine whether an attorney or a CPA is considered an independent contractor using a right to control analysis, see EDD Publication DE38, Employment Determination Guide. Enrolled agents are subject to a different standard than attorneys and CPAs to qualify for an exemption from the ABC test. All of these tax professionals need to meet the Borrello standards to qualify as an independent contractor. But enrolled agents also have to meet additional tests to qualify for the professional services exemption, including maintaining a business location, which may include the individual's residence, that is separate from the hiring entity, obtaining any required business and/or professional license, having the ability to set or negotiate their own rates and hours, being customarily engaged in the same type of work performed under contract with others, and exercising discretion and independent judgment in the performance of the services. CTEC registered tax preparers are not specifically excluded at all, and presumably are employees under the ABC test unless they qualify for the business-to-business contracting exemption. Also exempt from the ABC test are business entities that contract to provide services to another such business or to a public agency or quasi-public corporation. We'll cover the business-to-business exemption and the federal and California worker classification rules generally at our worker classification webinar on June 26th. You can get details and register at caltax.com under webinars. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Spiedel's California Minute.